friends, my pleasant and humble wishes. The first topic is Government Report Flags Lapses in Nagaland Bat Study. More than a year after probe into a filovirus study of bats in Nagaland by the Bangalore-based National Centre for Biological Sciences (NCBS) and Tata Institute of Fundamental Research (TIFR), the government has concluded that has been concerning lapses in the conduct and protocol followed for the study, even as an interdevelopment row continues over where the bat samples should be stored. The Hindu had first reported in February 2020 on the enquiry being initiated into whether the adequate permission has been sought for the study that had listed two scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology as co-authors and was partially funded by US Department of Defense through its Defense Threat Reduction Agency (DTRA). In 2020, a committee convened by Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR), which consisted of officials from Ministry of External Affairs, Defense, Home Affairs, Health, Environment, Law Department of Science and Technology, Development of Northeastern Region, and others met to streamline process and avoid such lapses in future. A report prepared by the Ministry of Health said both the foreign funding of the study that cost estimate rupees 1.9 crore as well as concern over the shortage of bat samples collect came up for scrutiny. May 28 order has no relation whoever with CAA, Ministry of Home Affairs to Supreme Court. The Ministry of Home Affairs maintained in the Supreme Court on Monday that its May 28 order delegation power to district collectors in 13 districts across 5 states to grant citizenship to non-Muslim from neighboring Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh has no relation whoever with the controversial Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. The 2019 Act, better known by its abbreviation CAA, is under challenge before the Supreme Court. The law is accused of fast-tracking citizenship for non-Muslim persecuted minorities, that is Hindu, Sikh, Jain, Buddhist, Parsis and Christians from India's 3 neighbors. The CAA is blamed of illegally granting citizenship on basis of religion. Petition in Supreme Court have drawn parallel between CAA and May 28 notification, which facilitates non-Muslims for 3 countries residing in 13 districts of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Haryana and Punjab to apply for citizenship. Indian Union Muslim League Party, represented by the advocate Haris Biran, said May 28 order was an deliberate ploy to implement CAA's malified designs. In its response, Ministry of Health Affairs countered that the May order merely delegates the power of granting citizenship by registration and neutralization to local authorities in particular cases. The central government used its authority under Section 16 of Citizenship Act. It is merely a process of decentralization of decision-making aimed at speedy disposal of citizenship application of such foreigners. It has no relation whoever to CAA, the Ministry of Health Affairs affidavit said. The next topic, G7 accommodates Indian stand on internet crimes. Internet freedom are subject to national security, said government sources, claiming that India's tough negotiation on the joint commune issued by G7 and the guest countries at the session on open societies has ensured that original language criticizing internet shutdowns has been amended to include New Delhi's concern. The explanation came after G7 and the guest countries' 2021 Open Society Statement referred to politically motivated internet shutdowns, which indirectly address internet backlogs in various parts of the world, including India. Kashmir has experienced internet and mobile telephony shutdown since Article 370 was amended on August 5, 2019. Similar communication shutdowns were witnessed in Delhi and Assam during the protest against Citizenship Amendment Act during 2019 and 20 and the former protest last January. Communication shutdowns were also witnessed in other parts of the world, including Hong Kong, where the protest against Chinese security law intensified during 2019. The G7 statement also took note of development in military-ruled Myanmar as well as in large economies. We are at critical juncture facing threats to freedom and democracy from rising authoritarianism, electoral interference, corruption, economic coercion, manipulation of information, including disinformation, online harms and cyber attacks, politically motivated internet shutdowns, human rights violation and abuses, terrorism and violent extremism, declared the statement referring to the problems facing the democratic world. The assertion in the statement appears to touch upon several issues that are sensitive in nature as they are often subject to public debate in India. Sources indicate that the mention of topics in the statement took place in backdrop of sustained exchange of opinion between G7 and the Indian teams. Government sources said that politically motivated internet shutdowns clarified that national security and public order concerns are an exception to the need for internet freedoms. According to the source, during his visit to London in early May, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has filed several questions about government's action against protest and the clampdown in Jammu Kashmir after August 5, 2019. The source said Mr. Jaishankar had made it clear that law and order concerns was ever important and public safety had to be prioritized when regulating flow of information. He also had fielded specific question about the internet shutdown for months in Jammu Kashmir as well as during Republic Day protests by farmers in Delhi this year. Mr. Jaishankar has attended the meeting virtually as he was under quarantine in London after some officials tested positive for COVID. The G7 ministers have level statement issued earlier in May, however, had also referred to internet shutdowns as a subject that organization is aiming to counter. The next topic, COVID pushed men into informal labor, women out of workforce. A survey of young semi-skilled migrants from rural Bihar and Jharkhand in April 2021 has found that last year's lockdown led to informalization of labor among men, while most of the women simply drop out of the workforce altogether. It also found that number out of state migrants have halved between March 2020 and 2021 with no net effect of remargination post lockdown. This means the majority of these young workers were stuck in their home districts when the second wave of COVID-19 struck rural areas and have poor chance of regaining formal salaried work without policy interventions. According to research from the Abdul Latif Jamil Poverty Action Lab, JPAL, and the University of Warwick. Next topic, Indian labs widen net for new form of Delta variant. A emerging form of Delta variant that allows the coronavirus to escape antibodies in recently approved treatment regimes is appearing on the radar of Indian scientists. 5 Indian labs have submitted data on this modified variant in May and June to GST, a global respiratory of COVID variants. Public Health England (PHE), a United Kingdom body, has also said that of 63 genomes in its respiratory as of June 7, 6 were from India. This doesn't, however, mean that only 6 instances of this inform of the virus exist in India. Evidence of the mutant have been found in Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Telangana. Called AY1 or B.1.617.2.1, its variant of Delta B.1.617.2, but with the mutant called K417N, which has previously been identified in beta variant, first identified in South Africa. This is an international variant of concern, marking by being highly infectious and significantly able to reduce the potent of variants. It has all mutations that make the Delta variant along with the additional concerning one with South African variant, said Shahid Jamil, former advisor to the Indian SARS-CoV-2 Genomic Consortium. It has all mutations that make the Delta variant along with the additional concerning with one with South African variant, said Shahid Jamil, former advisor of Indian SARS-CoV-2 Genomic Consortium. It is needed a matter of concern and we should be subsequting more to identify how widely prevalent in India. The Delta variant is now regarded as most prevalent variant in India, comprising nearly 31% of the 21,000 community samples processed until late May. The ICMR National Institute of Virology and the CSIR Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, Hyderabad, have concluded laboratory tests to determine the potency of COVID Shield and Covaxin against the new variant. While antibodies continue to be produced against the variant, they were fewer than against the strain used by vaccine companies to prepare their vaccines. However, antibody levels aren't the only makers of immunity. An additional concern with the K417N mutation, according to the database of a CSIR Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, was that it was associated with resistance to a newly developed monoclonal antibody treatment drug. Next topic, China, India, Pakistan expanding nuclear arsenal, says Swedish think tank. China in its middle of scientific modernization and expansion of nuclear weapon inventory, and India and Pakistan also appear to be expanding their nuclear arsenal. According to Swedish think tank Stockholm International Peace Research Institute Yearbook 2021 released on Monday. The overall number of warheads in global military stockpiles now appear to be increasing, a worrisome sign that the declining trend that has characterized global nuclear arsenal since the end of Cold War has stalled, said Hans M. Krishnasen, Associate Senior Fellow in SIRP's Nuclear Department, Arms Control and Non-Proliferation Program. According to the yearbook, India possesses an estimated 156 nuclear warheads at the start of 2021 compared to 150 at the start of last year's. According to the yearbook, India possesses an estimated 156 nuclear warheads at the start of 2021 compared to 150 at the start of last year, while Pakistan had 165 warheads, up from 160 in 2020. China nuclear arsenal consisted of 350 warheads, up from 320 at the start of 2020. The 9 nuclear armed states US, Russia, UK, France, China, India, Pakistan, Israel, North Korea together possessed an estimated 13,080 nuclear weapons at the start of 2021. Russia and US together possess over 90% of global nuclear weapons and have extensive and expensive modernization program underway, SIPRI said. The next topic, high inflation due to daily rise in fuel price, Chidambaram. The former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram on Monday asserted that daily rise in petrol and diesel is being high inflation in country. The WPA inflation is 12.94%, CPI inflation is 6.3%. Do you want to know why? Fuel and power inflation is 37.6% thanks to PM Modi raising petrol and diesel prices every day, Mr. Chidambaram said in the series of tweets. The Congress has been demanding a rollback of recent hike in fuel prices and has arguing to bring petroleum products under goods and service tax GST regime. Mr. Chidambaram remarks came on a day when the retail inflation rose to 6.3% in May, mainly on account of back costlier food items. Food inflation is 6.3%. Do you know why? Pulse inflation is 9.39%, edible oil inflation is 30%. There are high marks of competent economic management, the former finance minister added. Sender under determining GST Council's authority, Amit Mitra. The West Bengal Finance Minister Amit Mitra on Monday said that has been a dramatic shift in the centre's policy towards GST Council, where it is restoring to authoritarian and majoritarian approach under determining its authority and creating an impasse. He said the council was the only federalist institution. Mr. Mitra has sent a dissent note after 44th meeting of council led last week and had described its move to retain tax levies on COVID relief materials as a total anti-people decision that was thrust upon members. He told the media on Monday through a virtual press conference that the organizers of meeting had muted all microphones. The microphones were switched off right at the beginning of the meeting. It should be investigated why my microphone was muted at such critical time, he said. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee also came down on the Center for Taxes on Equipment and Medicine. When Mitra tried to speak against this, his phone was switched off. Dr. Mitra said he had not received any reply to the letter he sent to Union Finance Minister and is forced to bring issues before the people. He also raised issues like GST Council meeting not taking place for 7 months and the member proposal on zero rating of COVID-rated equipments and medicine being discussed at the meeting in detail. He said the state have given up their 70% taxing rates on the promise of consents, which was being seriously undermined. NATO leaders declared China a global security challenge. NATO leaders on Monday declared China poses a constant security threat and is working to undermine goal order. They said they are worried about how fast Chinese are developing nuclear missiles. In a summit statement, the leaders said that China's goal and assertive behavior present systemic challenges to rule-based international order and to area relevant to alliance security. While the 30 heads of state and government avoided calling China a rival, they expressed concern about what they said were its coercive policies, the opaque ways in its modernizing its armed force and its use of disinformation. They called on Beijing to uphold its international commitments and to act responsibly in the international system. Hope this video is very useful. I would like to say that our academy WAR, Win and Rule, is coaching students in various exams like NEET, TNPSC, UPSCs, as well as we are tutoring students from class 6 to 12 in all subjects. One-to-one student coaching is also available at students' preferable timing. For further detail, refer the description.